right. Well, today we are very blessed to have Jillian Park's going to be with us with Boldtrail. She's going to be going over utilizing your platform, how to get the most out of your system, as well as issuing a challenge for us that I really hope that we can jump on board and take it to heart. The thing that I find so interesting about databases is that when when realtors utilize a database, they grow their business. It's the tool that we use to manage a lot of relationships. Only 3% of our market is actively buying and selling real estate at any given time. And a lot of times we're always trying to find that 3%. When you hang on to everybody and when the time is right, they're ready to transact with you because you've already established and built a relationship. It's so hard to just find that 3% when they're ready to buy and sell now. But if you just maintain the relationships that you have, I know a lot of people that spend all this time chasing leads, chasing leads, chasing leads. And when that happens, all you like you have to, if you're chasing leads this week, that means you're chasing leads next week and the month after and the month after that. And you're letting all these folks that you have gathered that you had an opportunity to build a relationship with and you just left sitting on the sidewalk drying up. That's a weird visual, but like we work really hard at building relationships, but a lot of times we just leave them hanging. Having our Bold Trail, our database to be able to build those relationships, that's where the real value comes from. And then you don't have to work on constantly trying to get that 3% that's ready to buy and sell right now. So Jillian, that's my 5 cent intro there. I'm gonna hush and let you take it from there.
I feel like you alley-ooped me. That was perfect because I feel like with Bold Trail, let me share my screen before I start and forget. We know that when we jump in here, it's like, what do we do? Where do we go? There's all these bells and whistles, there's all these things, right? So sometimes when we jump in here, we start to focus on things that we think are important. And sometimes we need to scale it back and think, okay, what is it that these consumers are actually wanting to see? What is it that moves the needle the fastest? What is it that is going to turn money into your pocket the fastest, right? So if I jump in here and I'm looking at all these things in the design center and I'm creating and I'm sending, that's great. That's beautiful, right? But does that move the needle as fast as, say, something else in the system? Why don't you guys put in the chat? What do you think is the number one thing that consumers, that your prospects want to see? You can unmute and say it too if you want, if you don't want to put it in the chat. But this is kind of a little challenge that leads into that 30-day challenge that Alan was referencing, because we start spending time on lots of different things. So again, the question is, what do you think is the most important thing in your Bold Trail that you should be using, right? Nothing in the chat yet. It's not a trick question, I promise.
I think it's properties. I think like personally, I think like the reason Zillow is so successful is they take our properties and market it to people. They take our own properties, market it to people, and then
Amen.
sell them back to us. So like
Yes.
that infuriates me.
Absolutely. That's exactly it. So it's listing alerts. It's the home, it's the properties. They want to see photos. They want to see the photos of the properties. They want to see the information. And so that really is number one. Like Alan said, like, yeah, it's the properties that you guys have that you're carrying, right? So we can do things like sending out our own listings, but maybe we don't have listings right now, right? So the biggest thing to utilize are those search alerts. That's the thing that is the most important in there. Yes, auto drips, exactly, and camp on properties, perfect. Campaigns and things like that are important too, right? But number one, they want to see properties. So what I want to make sure that you guys do or know how to do is kind of a mass search alert, right? You can create an alert to be able to assign to people based on a hashtag, for example. So let's say we did go in and we created some of that the free lead gen, right? The landing pages or the squeeze pages, right? In those things, remember how you can actually tell the system where to point, where you want it to land, right? You choose the URL that you want it to land on, but you also can assign a hashtag. You can assign a hashtag anytime somebody signs up, if they're signing up on those landing pages, if they're signing up on your open house, if they're all of those things, you can assign a hashtag. And what's beautiful is we can create a general search alert for a hashtag. We can create a luxury hashtag. We can create all of those things. So if we come into our marketing, this is where I want you guys to go today. So marketing, and we scroll over here to search alerts. This is that spot we're talking about today. So this is where we can come in here and we can create a search alert that will go ahead and assign based on a hashtag. So whether you're hashtagging for new things or you have past hashtags, we can still use a hashtag you already have in the system. But what I want you guys to make a mental note of is if you are creating a search alert based on a hashtag, it's not going to auto send to your past people that are already on the hashtag. So we'll have to go into the contacts and do a mass update there with those. If you're creating a brand new hashtag, it will assign. I'll jump in, I'll dive a little deeper and show you so we can clarify what that looks like. So from here, we can just come right here to create alert. This is going to look very familiar to the search alerts in a contact record, right? You can still go in and create those for the contacts. They can still create those for themselves. Again, my connection is a MLS in California or MLS is in California. So we just need to do a general thing there. So areas wise, I can start typing in, let's do San Jose, I guess. Well, that's not how you spell it. There we go. Maybe it doesn't have that MLS in here, San Jose. Come on, there we go. Okay, so city, area, neighborhood. So you guys can see you can actually narrow in that way if you want to. Use geographical area rather than MLS, you can do that as well, but we're just going to keep it simple with the city of San Jose. Let it refresh. Then I'm going to come over here. So what do I want? Which status, right? So I'm just going to do for sale. That's all I want on this round. And again, with this, you can be extremely specific, you can be general. So right now, the one I'm going to do is kind of a general 3 bedroom, 2 bath, single family, right? So that I have multiple things in here that's going to kind of serve as a general search alert until that prospect comes to me and says, no, I actually want this. Or they go in and tweak their search alert themselves, right? So this is kind of a general when they're first starting so that we can start the relationship, start the building with the search alert. So from here, price range. What I love about this is that this does give you the average of what the properties are in that area. That's where you're seeing this here. So I can kind of have an idea when I go to actually create and choose what I'm going to search on or what I'm going to create this. So maybe I don't want to go into the millions yet. I want to keep it down below. But this is where we can move that little graph over here to determine the price range. Let that update. There's a lot in here. Then when I come over here to single family, there's so many, don't start unclicking, deselect them all. That's the easiest way. That's going to save you the time. And then I can come in here and determine, I'm just going to do single family right now, keep it very simple, but you guys can do multifamily. You can do, I mean, anything that's applicable, condos, right? We can do all that, townhouse. I'm just going to do single family. And then my bed and bath, right? I want to do 3 bedrooms, 2 bathrooms. Done. Now there's more filters. There's just a few little things in here. So if you need to be a little bit more specific on things, you absolutely can if they want newer build, anything like that. But I'm just going to keep it simple like this, right? When I go to click save, this is now where I can create the information that's going to go out, including the hashtag. So if I'm choosing a hashtag that I already have in here, great, that's fine. Moving forward, anybody that receives that hashtag will automatically be placed on this listing alert, right? If I already have people on the hashtag, those guys won't automatically receive this. I'll need to come into contacts after we're done and do a search for that hashtag and then assign them as a mass that way if I want them to get this listing alert, right? Otherwise, if I'm creating a brand new search alert, great, let me do that. So I could just do single family San Jose, right? That's maybe what I'm going to call this. So then when I want to go ahead, utilize this for other people and assign them to this hashtag as well, they'll start to get this general search alert that I'm just creating now, right? I would just click here to create that hashtag. And now I can see hashtag SF San Jose. Beautiful. Now here, how often? This is where if I'm wanting it to be all the time, great, I can send it out. If I want it to be weekly, monthly, right? You have twice a month, you can determine that. So depending upon who this is going to, be mindful, right? If this is going to my sphere or my friends and family, perhaps I'm not going to do daily, right? It depends on the situation though, right? You can absolutely determine that. Um, but this is where, okay, if I want it once a week, if I want it twice a month, I can determine right here how often I want this specific alert to go out. Now, dynamic subject line or custom, I can create one if I want it to say something specific. The dynamic one is created based on what we know helps to generate clicks. So our systems are always going through kind of pulling the keywords that are really prompting people to click on things. That's what that dynamic subject line pulls off of. So you don't need to reinvent the wheel. You absolutely can keep that as is. I want to call out this match score right here too. So this is how you can determine what properties you want. Do they need to be 90% or greater, exactly the match of the criteria that you put in? Do we need it to be 75 or 50, right? You can determine that. Um, Keep this in mind. You guys know how many times does it happen where a prospect tells you, I want this type of property, I want this, this, and this. And then all of a sudden they see something else and like, oh no, actually I want that. Right. So that's why this not 100% is still a good idea because they're still just kind of, maybe they're just starting their search. Maybe they think they know until they see otherwise and then they know. Right. So that's where this is nice. So I'm probably just going to do 75 just to start out with. What's nice about this, guys, is you can come in and tweak this whenever you want to, right? It's not a one and done. We can come back and tweak this. So at this point, when I click save, now this is going to save, right? Search alert saved successfully. I can see that down here. And now if I come back to my search alerts, I'm going to see all the ones that I've saved. SF San Jose, here's the one that I just created. So I can see it's twice a month. It's in the area of San Jose. Here's my hashtag, right? Search alert title. And I can come edit this. If I want to come back and tweak it that percentage, or I want to do something else, maybe narrow it down a little bit more, right? I can absolutely do that. I can tweak this whenever I want to. But now this is live. So anybody who comes in and I add them to that hashtag will now start to get this search alert, right? That's what's great about this. So if you're importing with the hashtag, you can do this as well. If you're already have folks that are in here, let's say they're already in this hashtag, so I want to make sure that they're getting this too. Maybe I had added 50 people or however many before to this hashtag, but now I want to utilize this. You can still come over here to your contacts, and that's where we would then search over here for the hashtag. Wow. So I can select the hashtag right here, or I can come to show all filters. And here's where you can determine who you want to actually pull for this. So yes, let's say we're doing that hashtag, right? So I want to do SF San Jose. And then when I do that, it's SF San Jose. And then if I come down here, you can do a few things. You can either say currently isn't getting a search alert, right? You can search for those people because if they're already getting one and they're in the hashtag, maybe I don't necessarily want them to. Maybe I do want them to still, right? Because people can have up to 5 search alerts. So maybe they're going in, let's think about that with they want this potential area, but this is the criteria there. Maybe they want an investment property, so they have other criteria for that, or a fixer upper, right? So you can have multiple search alerts. Just be mindful of who you're going to actually assign this to in this situation. If I just want everybody in the hashtag, I can just do view search results. Let's say this is going to work for me because it's, again, this is my test account, so I don't have all these things active. But let's say then I would just come over here, check mark the box, more actions, add search alert. And then I can add them as a mask this way, right? So what's nice is let's say that I'm working with people who currently don't have a listing alert. I could do that in this criteria. I could say, yes, they're on the hashtag, but then I want to come over here to doesn't currently have a listing alert, search alerts. I want to say no. Maybe there's 500 people in here, right? I can do my view results. Let's say that 500 people showed up here. I could check mark, do more actions assigned to a search alert, refresh, do the same exact search over here and do the same thing. Because I believe you guys can do 250 at a time updating. Mine only lets me do 10 because it's an admin, but you can do 250, do your same search over here, search again for people who aren't on an alert, pull it up, do the same exact thing, right? Check mark the box, more actions assigned a search alert until there's nobody else on that thing that does not have a search alert, right? So that's a beautiful tool here. Again, guys, most important thing that they want to see are properties. So I encourage you guys, remember, come to your vitals, look over here who's not on a search alert, get them on a search alert. Even if it's a general search alert like this is the way to go for sure. Any questions? I know we moved through that kind of fast. So again, guys, that's under marketing and search alerts.
I have a question.
Yes, ma'am.
If we want to get specific, like if I want a ranch on a basement and I couldn't find that, I was trying to get very specific, like if I'm setting up an alert for, say, a particular buyer and I want to
Okay.
narrow it down to features, I could not find that.
Okay, so if you're coming in here, you said you couldn't find the ranch and you couldn't find, when you're in a contact record and you're creating one individually, are you seeing them there? Or you're just saying we don't have as many options? We don't have as many options as your MLS. Let's be real, right? That's the honest answer. So if it's something where you aren't seeing it here, because this should be where all your criteria is that you're able to narrow down by, you might have to move them to the MLS if it's something like that. Um, However, If it's not, we could potentially come in and see if there's a feature request, if something's missing to get it added, right? To make sure that that tool is there. Because we just need to create that to be able to pull that criteria. Sometimes the MLSs don't send us everything that you guys have. So it depends on the MLS. So I would absolutely say, you know what, I might send you an email, Linda. I'm going to write your name down so that I can, because I want to get, if we can make this better and more useful for you, then I want to do that. So let me just do ranch. Expect an email from me after this, Linda.
Okay, thank you.
Beautiful. And guys, anytime that you have information or a feature request like this, where it's not doing it, you want to make sure number one, does it? Can I do it? And then if you can't, this is where make sure you use Boldybot, right? Come down here, come to the chat, and even submit these feature requests like this to the chat. So if you start here, you're going to get the AI that's going to try to help you, right? Go through your thing. If she tells you can't edit it, then say live agent, right? Or say, please submit this as a feature request. You can do either. If you do live agent, then obviously our team's going to reach back out to you so that they can go ahead and find out what you need, right? The system will ask you what your best form of contact is, whether it's phone or email. And then that's how that agent's going to reach out to you. So something like this, we want to make this better for you always. So please, please absolutely share this. For this one, Linda, I'll work on this and get back to you. But moving forward, guys, make sure if you use Boldybot, please, that'll help us all. My property alerts end up in people's spam folders as a workaround. So David, you called out that a lot of the listing alerts end up in the spam folder. That absolutely happens. Part of that is why we do that dynamic search title to try to help that. But also this is where it's super important. It depends on the email provider, like sometimes they deliver, sometimes they don't. Sometimes my Gmail does, sometimes my Yahoo, whatever. There's all those things where we're constantly trying to work through delivering those. What I would encourage you to do is make sure, maybe put an email template in here that you can mass send out. Or when you speak to somebody, make sure and tell them to add you to their address book, add you as a trusted source, because that'll help with deliverability as well. There's no magic answer to end all be all deliver, but know that that is our biggest concern. We know that search alerts are the number one thing. So we're constantly as a company going through and trying to find ways to help with that. That's why that dynamic title is also super important. So I wish I had a good, like, clean answer of yes, this is the magic way. But unfortunately, it's a work in progress. Just keep doing it and make sure and send them something saying, hey, I want to ensure, or when you're on the phone, I want to make sure that my information is sent to you. Can you maybe add me into your address book as a trusted source? And that'll help for them. Or we can create a template in here and send it as a mass, right? Where we're much like the one that's in here to introduce them to the website. We can do one, hey guys, just to make sure that this delivers, right? We want to make sure that we're sending you the information you want. Be sure and add me into your address book. Great call out. Alan,
Perfect.
did you have
Thank
anything?
you.
Yeah, thank you, sir. No? Okay. Okay, so that, guys, again, utilize search alerts. Make sure too, when you're coming through here and you see somebody signs up, that you do go into their search alert as well, right? Make sure you're going into the contact record and take a look at what you're seeing in their record. Because if you're coming over here to the search alert, right, and you're seeing like alert one, generally that's a system created search alert, right, where the system created based on their viewing history. And so you want to come in here and make sure that that search alert is good, right? Sometimes they might have viewed something that perhaps is maybe a lower end, or I mean, it could be anything, right? So we want to make sure that we are sending them valuable things, not stuff that they're going to come back and say, oh, this is junk, whatever, or I'm not really interested, and then they don't look as much. So that's where come in here, look at their price range, look at their location, beds and baths, right? Make sure and tweak this. And when you actually go, I'm just going to kind of create a little difference in here so that I can go ahead and save. And then when you're in here and you save your edits, that's when you retitle this so that instead of it saying search alert one, now it's single family in Carlsbad or whatever you did to it. So that then when you look at this and you're going through your contacts and you do a quick little scan of Jillian's search alert. Okay, great. I already handled that one. I know I already looked at that. I already tweaked it. So that'll give you an idea so that you're not having to worry about that. So specifically, okay, good. I already updated that one, right? That makes sense? So that you're not just sending random. Perfect. Okay, good. Anything else, guys, before time is flying by. So before I move into the challenge, is there anything else in here, guys, that you want to ask about?
Hey, Jillian, I
Yeah.
do think that those are really, really important. I think the other thing and I'm not sure if you're going to do it this time or another time, but like, are you going to go into squeeze pages?
Yes,
Or is that a different one? Because to me, that's the, one definitely taking advantage of our database by making sure that we're sending them properties, but then if we can attract them to the database too. So definitely I like the squeeze pages, and we see a lot of success with the squeeze pages in that a lot of folks will engage with whoever sends them the properties online as opposed to the listing agent in a lot of cases. So utilizing squeeze pages, I think, is an underutilized tool that I think a lot of people miss out on, the one of the advantages in Bold Trail.
absolutely. And with this, guys, we could dive deeper next time because I know time moves fast. But if we come into the squeeze page, the landing page is the same. When we go to start building it, this is where we can assign a hashtag right here, right? So let's say we did SF San Jose. That means that when this person signs up from this squeeze page, they're automatically going to be assigned the hashtag, which means they're automatically going to be assigned that search alert we just created. So again, we'll go into this a bit deeper on the next call. We'll do search alerts, or pardon me, we'll do squeeze pages and landing pages both. We'll create both of those for the next call because that one also has a hashtag section where you can automatically assign the hashtag so that it saves you the trouble of having to come in here and find everybody that doesn't have one because you're automatically creating them. At that point, then they can come in and tweak and edit and do all that stuff themselves. Or they can tell you, oh no, I don't want San Jose, I want Rancho Cucamonga or whatever, right? I'm just throwing out California names because that's not where I am. I'm in Washington State. So so that's where but yeah, these are super super helpful. So we'll do the landing pages and squeeze pages are really about free lead generation, right? There's all these other things you can pay, you can buy leads, whatever, but this is to grab more leads, right? And to move them through. So we'll talk about those next time. Perfect. All right, guys, are we feeling ready to be challenged? It's not that scary, I promise. It's only 30 days right here, Boldtrail 30-day challenge. You guys don't have much time because it starts on the 26th. So you have 3 days to determine if you're going to be a part. But I mean, if you want to do 30 days, it's not 3 months, it's not 90 days, right? It's 30 days. So I'm going to share this in the chat. Plus, I'll email it to actually you're doing the recording. So I'll still email it to Alan so he's got the link, but we'll put this in the chat for you guys. What I want you to do is this goes back to what I was just calling out as far as the things that we know make money for you, right? What puts money in your pocket. That's what this focuses on. So it's going to walk you through. There's a weekly webinars you can track and measure, celebrate your progress, right? But what happens is we've got the kickoff challenge that starts the 26th, and then there's 3 other sessions, right? These are the things that we know move that needle for you. It's not some crazy reinvented wheel. It's like making sure that you're utilizing what you have in your system, right? Number one, Boldtrail is great. There's so many things in here for you to utilize, but it's not going to be as helpful to you if your people aren't in here, right? So make sure you're ready. You're importing your people into the system. You're working through. You're consistently increasing your pipeline, right? That saying pipeline equals paycheck, right? It's not like here's my database today and it never grows, right? That's why lead gen is super important. That's why you meeting people at Starbucks, grabbing their info, putting them in here, all of those things, right? That's super important. So there's a weekly Ask Me Anything, but if we scroll down a little bit, here's your hosts who are going to do that little intro call, that get ready, fired up call essentially. Ben works for us. He's worked for Keller Williams EXP, right? He's an agent, but he works for Inside Real Estate now. And so then we also have these folks you may have already heard of, but she's a coach as well, a success coach. But she's also an agent. So she shares some beautiful insight. He's also fantastic with kind of just putting this into practice, you guys, for like what's really going to work for you, how it works, strategy, all those things. So these are our hosts, but I'm going to put in the chat that little link to the 30-day challenge so you guys can register. I encourage you to do that, even if perhaps there's a conflict. Register because I do believe these are recorded and we'll be able to share out. But nothing beats the live so that you can hear it, ask your questions, be involved. So I encourage you to absolutely try and make these work. It is showing Eastern time on here for the time zones, which is great. Um, but yeah, come in here and register for each one. I like this weekly Ask Me Anything too, so that if you guys do have questions, great. Register so you get the link, even if you don't attend that one or that week, that's fine. And just make sure that we send you the information. So, right, all of it will be here for you to get your scorecards, right, your filters, all those things. So make sure and sign up and commit to 30 days. Really hit it hard. We know that that's when routines are created, right? So at least do your 30 days. If you feel like this made a difference, fantastic. Adopt it, implement it, right? If you don't, that's okay. You still challenge yourself for 30 days to really see, and you are going to get something out of this. It's not like it's, going to be not useful for you. So I absolutely encourage you to sign up, utilize this, because again, it's free for you. There's not going to be any charges for this. And it's really what we know is going to put money in your pocket the fastest. Beautiful. That's my long-winded spiel. Perfect, guys. Alan, anything else to add?
Well, just that one thing I did want to talk to both basically you and everybody here is one thing that we kind of requested from Bold Trail, from Jillian in particular, is we want something that we can work on that moves the needle. The whole idea here is that we could do a 3 hour session, and afterwards, everyone kind of goes, oh my gosh, there's so much to do. I'm absolutely overwhelmed. I can't imagine tackling this beast. It's like slaying a dragon. As opposed to say, okay, let's go in and this week let's try and jump into our database and let's work on setting up alerts. Let's work on sharing properties. Let's work on setting these things out this week. Next time we get together, let's try and do this. Let's focus on one piece because you really it's an elephant, and if you try and eat that elephant in one bite, it's gonna consume you. One of the big problems that we have overall in our industry is that when folks are new, they're like, I don't have any clients, there's no point in learning this system. And then once you get into the business, you haven't been used to actually utilizing a system, and now it feels overly daunting. It feels like just a beast that you can't go back and possibly tame it and get it under control. That's why I hope, even though Jillian focused primarily on one key topic today, the whole point is let's start jumping in and engaging. Try and really get into what's very important into our business, sharing properties. So I didn't, we requested specifically that we don't go too deep, that we don't cover 5 million things, because then everyone just starts going, it's all about deep dives and everyone's losing focus and that kind of stuff. Please, this week, jump into your Boldtrail, get into your database, start engaging with your people, focus on properties. There's only so much of emails and text messages. There's only so many of you telling your clients how amazing you are that they want to hear. But when you send them properties that they want to see, they're excited about that. That's a good thing to be sending out. They don't get tired of seeing the pretty houses. They get tired of you saying, here's why I'm amazing. This is why you should use me. That gets old pretty quick. Share them those properties. Take advantage of your systems that you have, the databases that you have access to. Start taking advantage of that, because this is where, like for key producers, for our high producers, they all have databases. This is what we use to manage them. So I implore you guys, please jump into this. Don't be afraid of it. You're not going to break it. Really, that I guess that's my whole thing. I know Neil, you're on here too, I believe. Um,
Yes, I'm on.
Yeah. I mean, what else are you seeing here, Neil? I mean, like anything that you want to throw in and jump in here with me on?
Well, it's just, I mean, just the accountability piece is the biggest piece. If you commit to doing something and, um, I mean, I like this. I didn't realize it was in there, so I'm glad we did this morning. I only see a couple of agents from my firm that's on here, but I am going to direct people to go to the recording once you post it and try to get people. And it's good. I've got at least 3 days to promote it to them. So thank you, Jillian, for going through this and encouraging people, because I mean, just this alone, it'd be hard to go through the 30 days and not generate business. I just don't see if you actually do what you're supposed to do.
Beautiful. And
Thank
I
you.
love, Alan, that you called out too about like if you're new and you don't have a big database, now is the time to learn it while you're not superly busy doing all
Mhm.
that and going out and showing folks, right? Because that's where you can really dive in. Yes, we're doing these calls. We also have lots of online support in the system for you too if you're proactively doing stuff. What I encourage you guys, if you're just starting out, make sure that you do on your main dashboard, you have the Get Started guide too. You guys have internal resources as well, but this is the one that makes sure that you're doing the initial, like, make sure everything is filled out the way you need it to, right? Like adding your photo. It says 10 steps. It's not crazy. Like, this is one step, put your photo in. You know what I mean? Like, so don't worry about that. So get this done. Make sure that all of this stuff is here, because this is what's going to be important for you to be able to be successful with Boldtrail. Is get your contacts in, get your profile updated, your photo, your brand, all those things. And this will walk you through making sure that you're set up correctly. Again, from your dashboard, it's right over here. Get started guide. Perfect.
Beautiful. All right, I encourage you guys to jump in. Please take advantage of the 30-day challenge. It's very easy to just say, you know what, I'll do it later. Like, go sign up on it now. I mean, we shared the link in here. I think she's put it in here a couple of times. Like, just go ahead and do it. It's one of those where it's only here to help you grow your business. And if you're going to take advantage of it, now's the time to do it. So, um, anybody have anything else or any questions, anything we can do to assist in any way, shape, or form? Everybody's all quiet. Sean, you're with us next. You're teaching next week, brother. Yeah, thank you very much for next week. I'm looking forward to learning from you. And that last chance. Anybody need anything? All right. We love you. We
All right.
appreciate you. If you need us, holler. Let us know.
See you next
Bye,
time,
guys.
guys.
I got